We're live from the Brodt cross-country course on the campus of Bowling Green State University. Getting ready for the 2023 Mid-American Conference Women's 6K race. Alongside former Bowling Green State University runner Jeremy Davidson, I'm Brodt Woznicki. Take you through the conditions first. We're looking in the lower 50s, wind about 10, maybe 15 miles per hour out there. A little bit of overcast, but for this time of year, in that final month of October, you'll take these conditions.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it is perfect weather out there, especially for runners, you know, just around that 50-degree mark. Not too hot, not too cold, a little bit windy, but you know, it's Bowling Green, Ohio. There's going to be winds, and all things considered, that's great weather for this this MAC women's race today.
And now we're asking ourselves, how will this race live up to what we saw in the first race of the day, the men's race, where Akron brought home the team title with Toledo finishing second and Miami third. Those three teams were separated by a total of 6 points. Dennis Mutai, how about that on the men's side, where he was Toledo's first ever Mid-American Conference individual champion?
Yeah, Mutai did an amazing job just sticking with that top pack and ultimately at the end pulling away from the other athletes and taking the win, individual win for Toledo. But how about Akron? You know, first team in what, 4 years coming back after cutting it due to budget issues, brought it back for this year, and Akron coming back, first year back on the scene, winning the Team MAC championship.
Well, let's try and give you an idea of what we might see here on the women's side, going back to 2022, where the Toledo Rockets would see all 7 runners place in the top 20. Rockets would go on to take the conference title with just 29 points, beating second place Ohio, who had 83 points, separated by 54 points. And Toledo is coming in here in the women's pre-championship coaches poll as being the favorite. Eastern Michigan picks second, Ohio third, and then Central Michigan fourth, and Bowling Green 5. Let's see what the Falcons can do on their home course.
Yeah, Falcons really, they have a couple upperclassmen and Kaylee Perry and Katarina Schubel, and they have a lot of underclassmen as well, and hopefully those upperclassmen can just, you know, show them what it's about, especially hosting a MAC championship for the first time in a few years. Great opportunity for Bowling Green to make something happen. And when it comes to the other teams behind Toledo with Eastern, Ohio, Central, like, they can all make it interesting, but overall Toledo looks to be, like, especially with last year's results, like a big favorite coming in.
And we're going beyond the pre-championship coaches poll and talking about the Great Lakes region in the women's rankings. You've got Toledo 6th, Eastern Michigan 7th, Ohio 8th, Bowling Green 12th, and Akron 13th. And you go overall and you start to talk about the Great Lakes region, period, and where things are at. On the women's side, Notre Dame first, Michigan State 2, Wisconsin 3, Ohio State 4, and Michigan 5. But then Toledo just outside that top 5 there at 6. This is where you really get that excitement to get a look at a Toledo team that is the favorite, with many more Mid-American Conference teams in the mix, because you're 2 weeks away from the Great Lakes Regional.
Oh yeah, yeah, with Toledo, Eastern Ohio, just 6th, 7th, 8th behind a lot of Power 5 teams, and even in front of a lot of Power 5 teams. They outrank a lot of those, you know, Big Ten schools that you think would be up ahead. And the MAC, obviously, you got to go out, prepare, and, you know, you want to dominate your MAC meet if you're Toledo. You want to, and even if you don't win, if you're in the top 3, 4, you want to set yourself up for a good regional race, you know, set some PRs, compete with some of the best in the region, and overall just go out there and have the best time you can at both the MAC conference meet here and at regionals up in Wisconsin in the next couple weeks.
And here we go, the runners lined up for the start, and the women's 6K is underway at the Brodt cross-country course here on the campus of Bowling Green State University. We saw things rain pretty tight throughout the men's race early on. On the women's side, might see a couple earlier moves.
Yeah, the men's race is real compact, real tight for the first couple miles, but we'll see if any women want to make big moves starting off in the first K or so.
You're going to go through this 6K course, and you're going to go over the hill twice. got to keep that in the back of your mindset, too, of where you might want to make a move. We saw Beatty Ba on the men's side for Kent State maybe made a move a little bit too early as he was trying to work his way into the top 3 and fell back during the last couple of stretches.
Yeah, and, I like being aggressive. Even if you go aggressive too early, at least you're making a move because, as a runner, you do have to make a move eventually. And I'd rather see some aggressiveness early, especially attacking that hill, getting up the hill, and getting it done with before you have to inevitably hit it again within a couple more kilometers.
The runners right now weaving their way through the trees. Don't get a lot of coverage on this course, but when you've got an overcast day, that does help the cause for the runners. It is not a hot and humid afternoon.
Oh, yeah, perfect weather.
Taking you through some of the runners to watch. Talk about Eastern Michigan, Esme Davies out there along with Paige Marchant. We know on the Toledo side, Jaden Cerencioni along with Joy Churchier. And Eastern Michigan out there in front. And right now you've got Eastern Michigan, Miami, and Toledo, your top 3.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that leader pack's starting to form even before the first K is over. So we'll see. Looks like Central Michigan's coming up.
Ohio there in that 4th spot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your top 5 runners. And this is already more separation in this opening mile than we saw on the men's side. I'll wait for the runners to come around the trees there, come down the stretch right next to I-75.
Yeah, when I ran on this course, I always thought I was putting on a show for everybody driving by. Because you got them driving by and you see them running, you're like, oh, wow, something's going on over there.
You weren't out there racing semis?
I'm not that fast.
See what your 400-meter time is like?
Yeah.
We apologize for the technical difficulty there.
Should be coming around to about the first 1K here. I got them clocked in at about 3:10.
And we go up top now with the aerial view. Looking at that long stretch, working their way to the hill for the first time.
Oh, yeah, going through that first K in about 3:24 for that leader pack. And yeah, as you can see with this drone shot, just where the gator's starting to drive up is where that first hill comes. And, running down that straightaway where you see that hill, just in your back of your mind, you got to just mentally prepared, drive up that hill and, power yourself through the bottom, and then you're halfway done with the hills for the day.
Making a big turn here, see if we get an idea of who is out in front. Eastern Michigan remains right up there. Looks like Ohio in that top 2, and Toledo and Central Michigan right there.
Yeah, those are those top 3-4 teams that we were talking about before the race started. See, maybe that's Kaylee Perry from Bowling Green up within the top 10 in that kind of second group right there.
On Central Michigan's side, Emily Paupor, 3-time MAC Runner of the Week. She's been the lead runner throughout the season for Central Michigan. Standout performances. Kicked off the season with a pair of wins in the 38th annual Jeff Drenth Memorial 5K with a PR time. She was 1 second shy of breaking the Central Michigan Women's 5K program record. Then went to the 6K here at the Invitational on the Mel Brodt Collegiate Cross Country Invitational. She was 1 second shy of her personal record. So Paupor expected to be a contender individually for Central Michigan, while the Chippewas picked 4th in the pre-championship coaches poll. Toledo's got 2 in the top 5 right there.
And they got a 3 and 4 that in the top 10, so they're looking real good right now.
Toledo looking to three-peat as Mid-American Conference team champs.
And We're just coming through the mile mark around. The leaders came in about 5:30. You can see on the live, Rodney Rogers in there in the brown jacket.
President of Bowling Green State University.
Great supporter of the athletics here.
Got a busy day for Bowling Green State University athletics with football also coming up.
I think there's a swim meet after, so if anybody's here live in Bowling Green, stop by swimming at 1 p.m.
It's that time of year, right?
Oh, yeah, where the fall and winter sports start coming together. It's great.
And we'll see who maybe starts to stretch things out a little bit as they will work their way out of the trees.
Keep going straight.
We're 6.5 minutes into this race. Reminder, Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Ohio were your top 3 in the pre-championship coaches poll. So we'll be keeping our eyes on the numbers that come across, who can get that first 5 across, as well as watching out for an individual champion.
Okay. The thing, and we can kind of just get right in here.
Just as much as we're watching for the runners coming through the trees, you see the spectators also trying to get in position throughout that course.
Yeah, really Bowling Green around the start line is very spectator friendly. It's not a lot of running for, especially who have, parents or grandparents watching. And you'll see them come through in a couple minutes. There's almost a tunnel, and that's, as a runner, one of the best things you can have supporting you is just people yelling, cheering. Even if they're not cheering for you, just the energy is unmatched, especially at this mark coming up.
Eastern Michigan, Ohio, Central Michigan, Toledo, and then Toledo. Those are your top 5. And here's a great look. Out in front there, Eastern Michigan. And look how many Eagles have worked their way into that top 10 as well.
Yeah, the second group, that first group had, the leader from Eastern is pushing the pace, but there's 3 people behind her in that second group in that top 10, and that's going to be huge when it comes to point scoring and trying to compete with Toledo.
Eastern Michigan, it wasn't long ago that they were the team to beat. You go from 2015 to 2019, Eastern Michigan women won 5 straight conference titles, but they have not won a conference championship since 2019. Might have a chance here today if they can get the numbers against Toledo. And there for Eastern Michigan, that is Esme Davies. She was named the MAC Female Cross Country Runner of the Week back on October 17th after finishing her 4th consecutive race, having a personal best time with a time of 19:54, finishing 9th individually out of 400 total competitors at the Arturo Barrios Invitational, hosted by Texas A&M.
And at that Texas A&M race, that's a great race for any MAC team to go to. There's going to be a lot of competition out there with the SEC teams and all that. They competed pretty well. They put up a respectable result.
Yeah. They're going to do this same.
Am I on live TV right now?
No, you're not.
Starting to string out a bit as they hit the next stretch. And just look at where your top 4 and how much separation there is.
Oh, yeah. At this point in the men's race, there's still anybody's race, big pack. And as you can see, of course, with the women's race being a bit shorter, there is less time to make those moves.
Right.
So, especially if you're a team like Eastern or Ohio, you want to make your move as soon as you can. It's coming at 10 minutes up in the race.
It is a race in the state of Michigan right now between Eastern and Central for 1-2, with Ohio there in 3rd, Toledo in 4th.
That would be awesome. That would be so good. Maybe next time.
I believe that is Paul up there for Central Michigan against Esme Davies for Eastern Michigan.
But even a GoPro would be cool.
Ypsilanti versus Mount Pleasant right now for your top two. While Athens, the Ohio University Bobcats there in third, and Toledo Rockets in fourth. We're also going to be keeping our eyes just behind that top four of what jerseys we're going to see. Piling up the numbers, who's going to have the first five come across for that team title.
I'm looking at the 3K splits right now. Looks like that third and fourth is Vilde Henriksen and Theresa Hagee from Toledo and Ohio, respectively. And in the top 10, Eastern has 3 in the top 10, and Toledo has 3 in the top 11. So it's going to be a tight race for those team points as of right now.
We've got Davies right on the shoulder of Papour, and if you're Davies coming in here, you're coming in with a lot of confidence. Esme has PR'd in every meet she has competed in this season. She's finished top 5 individually in 3 of 4 meets that she's ran.
Yeah, that's a great confidence booster. If every race you're running, you're doing your best you've ever done. So, especially the way she's running today, hopefully she can add another PR and maybe even MAC champion to her list.
Papour set her sights on the program record and made history just a couple of weeks ago at the Notre Dame Invitational. She placed 16th in the Invitational Blue Race, but she came home with Central Michigan's 5K program record by 16 seconds. Previous record was 17:07. She went 16:51.
Oh yeah, and that Notre Dame race is great competition there, and you know that only helps to achieve a great time like that. And it looks like Hagee from Ohio is trying to bridge the gap in between those Michigan runners up in the front.
Yeah, just trying to stay within striking distance.
Yeah.
Because as you watch Davies and Papour push one another, you know, can they stay shoulder to shoulder? One drop back and maybe you see Hagee make a move.
And they're coming up to 2/3 of the race run. They're coming up to that 4K mark on that back end of the lake before they mount the hill one more time.
Keep your eyes on that leaderboard in the top right of your screen as we're just over 13 minutes into this race.
No, you're right. Yeah, I don't think it would make good for
And this is the part of the race where it gets kind of lonely as a runner. You see there's not a lot of spectators out there, especially as you round that corner going up to the hill. As a runner, you got to really dig in mentally and, you know, realize that it's you versus yourself. And in the case of the Eastern and Central runners right here, like it's going to be racing each other till that finish line.
And you've gone out, you've scouted this course with your teammates, get an idea of where you're at, where you might want to make your move. And going individually right now,
That's a mistake.
and Papour and Davies up there. For Toledo, you've got Vilde Henriksen in that top 4, and Theresa Hagee up there for the Ohio University Bobcats. But as you go down the line, I mean, Eastern Michigan and Toledo, it's going to be very tight as far as the team title.
Yeah, and, you know, this is why we run the races. You know, it's see who can put their best 5 out.
You're talking number 6 versus number 7 in the Great Lakes region rankings and 1-2 in the pre-championship coaches poll for the Mid-American Conference. And look at Davies, maybe making a little move, just creeping right up on the shoulder there of Papour. As Hagee, she is right there.
Yeah, big move for Hagee because she was probably 20 meters back, not even, you know, 1K ago. And now she's basically within those 2 leaders with Papour and Davies. And that's just huge mentally because you want to be running with people. You don't want to be running by yourself. And even if you see them in front of you and you're 30 meters out, like, it's just mentally draining. So the fact that she's almost step for step with them right now, gaining on them, that's going to be good for her coming into this final K and a half.
Davies out in front, Papour second, Hagee third. And Papour actually going to be passed up here, looks like in a moment, by Hagee. So there's where we talked about with Papour and Davies pushing one another and Hagee just trying to stay right there. Who's going to be able to carry forth that pace to the very end? And right now it's Davies, but Hagee might make a statement here as we come through the trees.
Yeah, but once they come out of these trees, they're going right up that steep BG hill.
There's Hagee, about to pass Davies.
And coming around the top of the hill, she's taking the lead.
You never know. Davies might be comfortable, too, letting Hagee drive up that hill, just kind of sitting right there, looking to respond back. Now they are practically shoulder to shoulder.
Drone's running out of battery.
Teresa Hagee, a junior for the Ohio Bobcats. A mix of experience in their group, totaling 16 runners on the women's side. Look at the support there that Davies is getting to with her teammate running alongside the course, kind of letting her know where she's at.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Just rounded the corner to the 5K mark with 1K to go.
I guess we're wondering if Papour is going to have any kind of answer here for the top two. Because even though she dropped back there, she hasn't fallen all that far back.
She's only a couple seconds behind. Like, she's still in it. In this last K, you really just need to start pumping those arms. Start just slowly gaining.
Who's going to make that final move? And you love that final 400 meters, that stretch where everybody's going to get that look.
So what's left in the race, they're going to be running basically the same straightaway as that start line, doing a hairpin turn, running past the start line again, and then taking one more right turn. It's going to be that straightaway to that finish line. So less than 1K left.
18 minutes in. Here's your top three. Hagee out in front, Davies second, Papour third. It looks like Hagee's starting to get a little separation. And here's Papour passing Davies.
Making her move. Yeah, she's looking a lot more confident than she was just a little bit ago.
And Davies has been in that top two since the beginning of the race.
Yeah, she's doing great now, just sitting right behind Hagee. Actually, she pulled ahead.
That's Papour passing Hagee. So the move we were wondering if she could make, she's just done. So Emily Papour out in front. Esme Davies and Teresa Hagee chasing.
There's our buddy coming.
Yeah, Hagee and Davies just want to try to stay in striking distance here when they're about to turn that final corner to get to that. As long as they have her in the sight, they have a chance. But Papour looks like she's cruising.
Okay.
There's Emily Papour,
And then this is the lead gator coming up.
three-time MAC Runner of the Week, trying to bring home the individual title at the MAC Championships here at the Brodt Cross Country Course. And Davies might have a move left in her.
Yeah, Papour's checking to see how close she is, but she's gaining.
Papour, Davies, and Hagee.
I get the overhead view right here.
And that gives you an idea. There is more work for Hagee to be done. This is Emily Papour. Can she hold off Esme Davies? Davies put her head down here, trying to catch her.
Will she have enough room?
Emily Papour, she might have enough left in her. Look at the stretch she's got to go.
There you go, there's the finish line.
And this is going to be an individual title for Central Michigan and Emily Papour, with Esme Davies coming across in second and Teresa Hagee in third. Well, those three put on a show going back and forth over that last mile.
That's a very entertaining cross-country race right there.
Now let's see team-wise. Going to get another Eastern Michigan runner coming across there. Here comes Toledo. Got a couple of the pink jerseys coming in there. Going to get Eastern Michigan's third runner coming across here. You see your top three separated by just over 3 seconds in Papour, Davies, and Hagee. Akron with Munga there finishing in fourth, and Marchant for Eastern Michigan gets another Eastern Michigan Eagle in that top 5.
That's the Paige Marchant with 20:46.
Got a couple of Toledo Rockets there get into the top 10. Looks like Nicholson and Sertz there in 6th and 8th.
And then Eastern Michigan, Marta Moreno in 9th. It's going to be a close one.
Going to be a very good showing for Central Michigan, who was 4th in the pre-championship coaches poll.
And for Bowling Green, Kylie Kubinson at 21:01 in 11th place overall. That'll be a second team All-MAC performance for her.
We'll keep you posted on the team standings as we have them. It was Toledo, the favorite to repeat, Eastern Michigan second, and Ohio third. The sun peeking out at Mel Brodt cross-country course as the runners make their way down that final 400 meters. And Eastern Michigan, as of right now, 44 points, Toledo 55, and then Ohio 40 points behind Toledo with 95. So Eastern Michigan, they came in 11 points behind in that coaches poll.
Oh, wait. No, we're looking at 3K splits. That's my bad.
Well, Toledo right there, 67 points. Eastern Michigan, 72. So if things stay the way they are, that's going to be a three-peat for the Toledo Rockets.
Oh, wow, but right down to the wire, though. Like, during that 3K mark, Eastern Michigan looked like they had an upper hand on Toledo. But in third place, Ohio, only a few points behind Eastern Michigan as of right now.
So the coaches poll coming in exactly where things stand.
Yeah.
Toledo, Eastern Michigan, and Ohio. We can't say enough about the top three that we saw in there between Papour, Davies, and Hagee, because at one point in this race, all three of them sat in that first spot.
Yeah, it was really just them, you know, probably their race strategy is, hey, I don't want to lead the entire time. Like, let me switch it off with you, you know? And that really, you know, started to be a real entertaining watch for us and for everybody watching on the live stream here. And overall, it was Papour who took it, and that was just an amazing race to watch for sure.
So congratulations to Emily Papour, your individual champion on the women's side. In your latest team standings, unofficially Toledo first, Eastern Michigan second, Ohio third, Bowling Green in their home course fourth, and Akron fifth. Looking back on that race one final time, we expected coming in that there would be some early moves, going from the 8K to the 6K, not as much time to make moves. That top four turned into a top three pretty quick.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, like you said, with the intensity of a 6K versus an 8K, it just, you know, it's 2 kilometers shorter, which means, you know, there's less time to make that move. And, you know, those top three runners really got into it and made it very entertaining, and overall, you know, helped their team scores, you know, by just 1 point improvement, 2 point improvement. Like, that's all you can ask for with those top runners.
Well, we got a little bit of a preview of what things could look like in a couple of weeks for the Mid-American Conference teams when they get to the Great Lakes Regional in Madison, Wisconsin. We're going to wrap this one up from the Mel Brodt cross-country course here on the campus of Bowling Green State University. Your team winner on the women's side, the Toledo Rockets, a three-peat for Toledo after also bringing home a individual title on the men's side with Dennis Mutai. Eastern Michigan does finish second on the women's side, and then you get the Ohio Bobcats there in third. What a finish it was. What a battle it was. between the top three, Papour, Davies, and Hagee. That is going to do it for us. I want to thank my broadcast partners for both races today. Jeremy Davidson joining me on the women's side, former Bowling Green State University cross-country runner. I'm Brad Woznicki saying so long. Thank you for joining us. We'll see how it all plays out in a couple of weeks at the Great Lakes Regional.